This is Richard with ABC, and I've got Mark Mueller here with me today, and we're going to be talking about the Fantastic Air Purifier. This is a product that I actually use myself, so it has special meaning to me, and my wife particularly. But what is this that you have here? Before we talk about this, what is this instrument you have right here?
This is actually a laser particle counter, and basically it is measuring large particles and small particles. So the large particles are particles larger than 2.5 microns, and then the small particles is less than half a micron.
So is that, in terms of an allergen, what size is that roughly?
Most likely pollen, dust, dog dander, those are large particles. Small particles are airborne mold, fungus, bacteria, viruses, those are small particles.
Oh, okay. So now you said you took a reading outside before you came in here. And
yeah, outside is actually, the two numbers are about 600 and about 68, and here right now we're reading at about 1600 and about 500 and 600 right here. So it's almost
so the air is
10
worse.
times worse inside, which is normal because particles build up. Particles outside go up and down, but inside they start to build up. And that's why some people feel horrible when they go inside. So we want to turn on the machine.
Now, just real quick, most air purifiers, you're used to seeing them as being like, big and bulky and everything like that, maybe unsightly. What attracted me to this one right away is that it's got this very small, sleek, compact design. This is actual solid, is it aluminum or?
It's aluminum. The shell is aluminum.
Okay.
You could drive a truck over it. It won't break.
And it's virtually silent. So it's got a very small fan in here. You barely hear it. You can hear it, but there's not a lot of noise associated with it. So again, like I'm used to the big HEPA, type units, and they've got the big thick filters and all that. This has none of that.
No filters whatsoever.
So what makes this different from those type of units? Well,
one thing is that it's no filters, which is nice because filters, it costs a lot of money to replace every year. Even the cheapest one costs about $200 a year. So there's no filters. There's virtually nothing you have to do except for every 3 years you're going to have to replace our lamp, which you can purchase from us. But you just turn it on, you put it in a central location, and this unit actually takes the moisture and the oxygen out of the air and creates hydrogen peroxide. Makes 4 types of ions that clean up the whole house.
So that's more like the gas form of hydrogen peroxide. I think it was.
It's a dry airborne version of hydrogen peroxide. Okay. Hydrogen peroxide is the one you find in a brown bottle, which kills germs. So this thing also kills germs.
The part I like about that is it's also, hydrogen peroxide's the safe. You can put it in your mouth, that type of thing. It's a much safer way to clean things, but it's also the, maybe people have heard of things like OxyClean, so it increases the oxygenation, that type of thing, so it's a great way to clean everything. That also gives it the capabilities to handle things that other air purifiers can't handle though, right?
That's exactly right. For example, MRSA, which is a big deal now, which is a antibiotic-resistant staph bacteria, which can even be on a surface. We have university test study that it also breaks down MRSA on the surface.
That's amazing.
And also there's 99% of airborne mold, airborne fungus, and airborne bacteria, because your house has lots and lots of bacteria, which when you tested your own house. And usually within a week or two, it's almost a 99% reduction.
Yeah, just so you know, my house, I have an older house, it was built in the 50s, and we have a problem with moisture and mold in particular, which our allergies are with mold in my family, so this was a big concern with me. And he said it could actually help take care of mold, and we did the tests on it, actually did. So after just a week of using the product, we saw the mold counts go down. So I'm a believer in that.
Yeah, the airborne mold, airborne fungus, 37 million Americans have chronic sinusitis, and that's mainly due to mold, airborne mold.
That's incredible.
Right.
There's also some special uses for this too that you'd mentioned to me before, that people with special conditions that helps.
Yeah, there are people who are chemically sensitive, and they have a problem with if they're in an environment, let's say they're in an apartment and somebody sprays pesticides outside, or they have to go to a new apartment and there's a lot of new carpet, and they will get very sick with it. And this machine is able to break down a lot of chemicals. So we have a lot of people who have purchased this technology because they bought a new house and they neutralize the chemicals. We also do a little a test with ammonia. We put ammonia on a cotton pad, and within 30 minutes, it'll break down the VOC, the ammonia inside the cotton pads.
Well, not everybody thinks they have that need. I know the core of the matter is allergens, pollen, dust mites.
That's right.
So people that suffer from allergies, usually the reason why they have asthma, reason why they buy an air purifier to begin with. Right. This takes care of the air a little differently, right? So I mean, the one thing I know is that when I see the sun coming in, you know, at just the right angle, you can see all that stuff floating in the air. It's just the little particles and all that. Started using this machine, I quit seeing that. So why is that?
That's good. That's a very good point, because we're used to, for the last 20, 30 years, having a big filter trying to capture. We're spending all this energy trying to capture. What this machine does is those particles are floating in the air mainly because they're charged particles, because they repel off the ground, okay? So once you introduce this system in your home, those particles are neutralized and they drop to the ground like a rock. And in some cases, when we're using this particle counter, it's very high. After cooking, you'll see very high amount. I'll turn off the machines and they won't come down. Turn on the machines, within 4 to 6 hours, I see a particle drop. Now, typically we say for a brand new home that's using it for the first time, it sometimes takes up to 4 days for the particles to come down. But once you're using continuously, the particles will drop down.
Okay, so that part, you know, is very easy for me to understand. You know, it's kind of like a charge. It keeps it buoyant and then it falls.
Right.
One of the other things I noticed is smells. So old house, a lot of smells. And what we noticed right away, we didn't notice it actually right when we were using the machine, but we weren't really sure it was doing anything, so we turned it off. And I turned it off. Within a day, my wife was like, "What's going on in the house?" She noticed it right away. I told her, "Well, I turned the machine off," and I took it back. And she's like, "Bring that thing back here now," because we have pets. You know, the pets have dander. Anybody's got dogs. If you got more than one dog, you're gonna have dog smells. And I know that with this helps us so much. We actually put it right in the center of our kitchen.
Yeah,
so.
And also the best thing is the center of the house, or center of if your kitchen, the center of the house. But old home smells, if you have animals, it's very effective in getting rid of urine smell. So I've actually had cases where customers have called me 2 hours after they turned it on, and they said, "I can't believe it's 2 hours," and I already can tell the ammonia smell going away, and so it's very effective.
And it's just breaking those things down.
And the thing is, you see a lot of commercials out there where they're spraying chemicals in the air, and that's not really good for the environment. This is chemical free, and it's actually breaking down the odor so it doesn't exist anymore. So it's neutralizing all those odors, true neutralization of an odor.
That's great. So just kind of recap here, we're not only just filtering the air for allergies and that type of thing.
There's no filtering going on.
Well, okay, so we're
purifying.
We're purifying the air, but we're also taking care of things like viruses. What else?
It's airborne mold, airborne fungus, airborne bacteria. Viruses are also taken care of. There also, even viruses in the air, they also will drop to the ground, so they won't float in the air anymore. Particulates, that's pollen, dog dander, dust. Then also chemicals, and also MRSA.
So I mean, especially with a family, that's all those things are concerns. What's great is you can take care of it with something that's actually attractive and doesn't take up much space in your house. The one thing I know that they'll come in different sizes for the square footages.
Right.
Some people think that it's going to do that like right away, but that's over a longer amount of time, you know, right?
Typically, like I said, it takes about 4 days once you introduce to your house. Now, there are cases where a house is very musty, moldy smelling. It might take 2 weeks, might take 4 weeks, but typically, usually within 3 or 4 days. And physically, they're all the same size, but inside, they're more powerful. So we have 3 different standalone systems that are able to take care of homes of 1,000 square feet, 2,300 square feet, and 3,000 square feet. So one unit, an AF4000, can do 3,000 square foot home, which is equivalent to almost having 9 HEPA filters, which would cost, you know, a lot of money.
Those replacement costs too are really high too. I've had one high-end air purifier before, and the replacement costs alone were like $125 per replacement.
Right.
So the replacement cost will just drive it up.
And the lamps, the cost here is about $100, but they last for 3 years. So you're paying about $33 a year, $3 a month to maintain it. So this is one of the cheapest air purifiers you can ever own.
That's really great. Well, I appreciate your time. I do know that if you want to try one of these things, I would highly recommend it, because the best thing to do is put it in your home to let you know if it's working or not, then take it out and see how you feel about that. I guarantee it's going to go back in the house. So thanks a lot, Mark.
Thanks so much.
Appreciate talking to you. Real quick before we go, been talking to Mark here for about 30 minutes to an hour, and we want to look at this one more time.
Yeah, most definitely.
So the particle counter has been sitting here, and we're looking at now at 693 versus 196.
It's already in the hundreds?
Oh,
Wow,
this size over here.
196. And this was in the thousands when we just turned it on an hour ago.
Yeah, in the thousands.
In the thousands.
So it's already feeling a lot cleaner in here. Anyway, just wanted to tell you that. Thanks.